Hi everyone, welcome to my next Graphic 45 brand ambassador project, and it's some home decor this time. So that was what I was assigned. Now, I'm not really a home decor person. I'm not into flowers and stuff like that and hanging things on the walls. So I thought I'd go to the kitchen and come up with some home decor for the kitchen. So I've come up with this recipe box. So this recipe box has been decorated using Life's a Bowl of Cherries. I've used the patterns and solids and some of the leftovers from other projects then for decorating. And this was an MDF kit I got. So in this video, I'll be showing you how I decorate my MDF projects. This one I actually got from Cool Cats Crafts, and it's a 5x7 photo box. But then I just changed it for recipes. So I'll show you how I mat and layer when we've got some items which are not a regular rectangle. So I'll show you how I do that and then open it up. And inside we've got some MDF dividers then as well. So this is an MDF kit, and usually what you would see are items here or places here where the MDF has been slotted into place. But I show you then how I hide those as well. So it's a bit of a construction video. So that is the final project, and you'll see in the video I don't actually show you all the decorating and everything. I'll just show you the main focus. And so this is my Graphic 45 home decor project. So I'm ready now to start assembling my box. So I've got everything ready, and all these MDF kits tend to be the same sort of assembly guide. So the one I'm using is the photo storage box, which is a 7x5 box by Cool Cats Crafts. So everything I need comes in the kit. And what you tend to have in these MDF kits is a base piece, a front and a back, and two sides. So the first thing I would do is just dry run it. So this piece doesn't fit. So what we're going to do is just turn the base plate. Yep, that's the way around. Those fit that way. And those on the side. So that then is how my box would go together. So these would come up and these would come up. And that would make the inside of my box. So what I do then is I take a pebble marker, you could use some black gesso, and colour them in. So I've done that on the back. So if I flip everything over, you'll see I've already started colouring in. I've still got this one to go. So with this pebble marker, just pump it to get going, and I'm just going to colour it in. If you don't have this, you could just use, like I said, black gesso, or with this large piece, what I would probably do is just use a black piece of cardstock and stick it down. But I'll be showing you that with the papers on the outside, because there is a special way to measure, because you want to ignore these bits here because they're going to be covered with the other pieces. But this pebble marker is brilliant because, as you can see, it's pretty quick. Oh, that's why I'm all black. I do tend to do this usually on my on my glass mat, just in case I do slip. But I didn't use my glass mat today because it does tend to shine on camera. So I'm going to try and get more coverage this side, because this is the straight side, which is going to be the top. This you're hardly going to see anyway. So just make sure the top part is tidy. And the same with this one. You are going to see more of the top. So I'm just going to So that then is the inside all done. So again, just dry run it just to see if you've got any bits which might be showing. And with your curved bits, you can run the Pebeo then just over the edges. So that's the inside of my box. So let's flip it all over. And then this would then be the outside of my box. Now with the outside of my box, I'm going to run across the top lip here and around these curved bits here. Oh, and again, I've already done that when I did the insides. But if you don't know which ones, don't worry, assemble it. You can do that bit afterwards. Oh, and this bit, I might end up covering it with my tape anyway. Okay, so we have everything done. Let's flip it all back around. What's good about the Pebeo marker over your gesso is it dries so quick. Let me just give this a little bit of blacker, darker look. There we go. So whilst that just has just a second to dry, what I'm going to show now, I'm just going to use a Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue to glue mine, and I'm going to use some construction tape. Now this tape is a sort of a papery texture, and it is nice and easy, but it's also strong, so it's really good for putting your 3D makes together and hiding all the workings. So let me just find the end so you can see. Just move it around. It's very thin. It is because it is a papery texture, so it's not like a plasticky thing. So it's great for construction because you can wrap it and everything. It's not going to crack and bend. Right, so let's get going with some glue. So I'm going to start with this back piece. And what I'm going to do is every sort of divot, what do you call it? Every bit that goes down, that's going to be in contact with one of these. So I'm just adding glue to the recessed part and the recessed part of this. And when they come together, they will glue. So on this one, so each one of those dimples, I don't know what are we calling them? I'm going to just dab some glue. And I'm going to do this side as well. Ready? So I've got glue inside each valley. Gosh, I'm using a different name every time. And the same here. I'm just dabbing the glue. This glue is just going to hold it for now. But the tape is also going to keep everything in place later. So now I'm going to bring this. And I can slot them together. There we go. So we've got 3 parts here. And you can see there's little bits of glue there, which I'm not worried about because it will dry clear. So again, we're going to go into the depressed bits. And this time I'm going to go around every side. And it's going to go here. So I've already got the glue there. Just need to put some here. And then the last one, we're just going to put the back on. And you can see it does come together quite quick. and then that's going to go in there. So I'm going to put some glue inside each valley. There you go. So as you can see, I've painted the inside all black. Before doing this, it's just far easier than trying to get in there. And now that I can see my box, I can see I need to just use my pebble marker there and there. This pebble marker is great for hiding any missed bits and things like that. And there we go. So that's the box now glued. But what you'd get if you covered this with paint is you would still see those little bits. So this construction tape is brilliant because what we can do now is tape up the corners of our MDF. And this will hold it together. Now I'm going to just cut it just a tiny bit shorter. There we go. So then I'm just going to bend it and chain it just to go around like so. And now, rather than having MDF edges, what I've got is a nice smooth clean edge. I'm just going to do that for all 4 of these. Now this one has got that curve, so I don't want to go over the curve, so I'm just making it a little bit short on this side, so I'm going to a bit longer going over the edge. And then again on the bottom, don't worry if you're a little bit short, that's what we want. We'll see why later. And again, we've got that little curve. So if I had too much tape on this side, it would hide that nice curve. So what I'm going to do is just make sure I catch a little bit. And again. And one more. So we've done the 4 vertical pieces, and we're just going to do the same here. So I'm going to start on the back so that the join where the tape meets up will end up being on the back. So I'm just keeping my tape nice and taut, and I'm putting half, the top half onto the MDF, and the bottom half is sort of just in mid-air underneath for now. So I'm just keeping it taut, and it don't have to be exact. I'm going to come around, and I bet you it won't be even, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be covered. I'm just going to stick it to itself. So now what we've got is this tape wrapped around. Make sure it's adhered. And I'm just going to take my paper snips and cut off an angle towards the corner. So it's not even a 90-degree square, it's just a little V shape down to the corner of my MDF. And the last one. And now just use my hands and fold over the corners. Fold it over the edges. I just take my Teflon tool and just sort of iron it down. If you've got any wrinkles, this will take it out. And what that's done is tidied up every corner nicely. And you tend to, with these kits then, also have pieces to make a lid. So exactly the same way. Oh, I've missed a bit there and there. There we go. Exactly the same method. I've made a lid. So that will go on there. So there we go. Just a different way of putting together your MDF boxes. And your home decor gives you a nice finished edge. If you want to take some tape and finish off this front bit as well, so you don't have the wood, you can, but I don't think we need to because you're not going to see it. So the next step now is to grab our Life's a Bowl of Cherries. I'm going to show you how to decorate it and work around any awkward bits. Okay, so I've got my papers ready. So I've got a bit of a mixture from leftovers from other projects. So I've got an 8x8 sheet that I didn't use, which is a cover one, which I might use to cut out some elements to decorate. I've also got one of the cut apart ones with all the borders and stuff, which I might use. But my main part of the decoration now is going to be the patterns and solids. So I've got a couple of the sheets of this blue, then I've got this matching one as well from the main collection. So let's get started with what we're here to do, which is learn how to decorate these awkward parts here and how I do mine. So we're going to start by measuring the side we're going to cover, and we measure it as if there is no cut there. So this box is, to go a little bit less, I'm going to cut this at 6.5 by 3. So 3 by 6.5. So when I do my front, this should also be 6.5 by, it's just there. So if I go down to 7.5, it's just a little bit less. 7.5. I actually want to go a little bit bigger. So 7.5, just plus a little bit more. So probably about a 16th extra. So I'm not going to be too precise about this. Right, so a lot of it is going to be 6.5. So let's cut that first. Oops, not that one I want the plain one. So I want my diamonds going that way, so let's put it in here. So 6.5. And then it was 7.5, but I wanted just a little bit. And I'm going to cut my side as well, which was 3 inches. Should I cut? Yeah, I'll cut the others at the same time. So 6.5. By 7.5 plus a little bit extra. And a 3. I will need another piece to go on the top later on, but that's not so much of a worry for me at the moment. So let's start at the front. So here we go. That is how it would fit. So what I do then is, as I just take my pencil, I can see where the join is here, and I'm just going to do a little line where the join is. Bring back my trimmer, and I'm going to trim just below it. So by going just slightly below it, it means it just comes down a little bit and we see a little bit of the black. There we go. And in fact, that's a little bit too tall. So all I'm going to do is take off a little hair's breadth. So it's a bit of working things through. And then I'm going to bring that one down so it's touching the bottom of my box. So there's a little hint of the black, but it's not obvious. So I'm going to just use some black distress ink just to hide any raw edges that I've created. So this is actually also going to make that black line there a little bit more obvious. There we go. And in fact, I could glue these on now before I lose them, because that does tend to happen with me. I start putting them in different places. So I'm lining up the sides and the top, getting them nice and even, and using my Teflon tool to iron it out. And then my bottom one as well. So I just close my lid down because I want to get this matched up. There we go. And again, my Teflon tool, just get it down. There we go. So now we're going to turn it up on its end and grab some low tack tape. So I'm going to cut a few pieces. Just put them down here. And again, I'm going to line this up as if that's where I'm going to stick it. And then I'm just going to nudge it up slightly. So you probably barely saw that. So that's where I wanted it if it was matching. And I'm going to just slide it up just a little tiny hair's breadth. And I'm going to stick it down on the side. And on the bottom as well. So I've got tape here and here, not where the lid's going to be. And I slid it up tiny, tiny, tiny bit. I can now flip it over without it moving. And I can trace where it would have been. So by taking it up that little bit, I'll drop it down when I stick it down. So I'll have a little bit of the black showing. Now take it off gently. So I'll keep these for the next one. And now I'm just going to cut on that line. And what you've got is a piece which is going to fit there. And then when you bring the lid, the other piece, you may need to trim some off the top. No, I don't think I'll need to this time. That's fine. So let's use some distress ink again. So that will again define the fact that there's a split there. And now let's glue it on. it up. So it's virtually touching the top. There we go. So there's just a little slight gap there. And then match this one up. And again, take my tool. And we're just going to repeat that on the back. So again, this is how the box would be. That's where I would have it usually. And I'm just going to slide it up just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Tape it into place. Now I can remove the lid. It's so much easier to do this before attaching the lid and things, because you can move things out of the way. Now just cut, just like we did before. Take my black surf distress ink. Can remember what it was called then for a second. And so bring them back in. And we're going to glue them down. Before adding the glue, I should have checked that it was actually fitted, shouldn't I? I've committed now. And there's one. And two. And then, so that's the front and two sides done. And see, when you're using the patterns and solids, because you're not trying to pattern match and stuff, it's so much quicker. So now I've got my back piece here now, and I am going to cut it here and here. Now, don't worry too much about the join and stuff here, or getting it accurate, because I'm actually going to trim a little bit out of the middle as well, because we do have that hinge. So I just want a bit there and a bit here. And what comes in this kit is a black strip of Arca tape, which is a book binding tape, which we're going to use. Oh, I don't want to be getting glue on it. Yeah, I can cut that bit off, luckily. It's a book binding tape, which is actually going to act as our hinge. So on this one now, I'm just going to do the sides and the bottom. Because the top is going to be covered by that tape. But your kit may come with some metal hinges or something. But this is just a brilliant way, if you're making a box from scratch, and you're thinking how I'm going to create a hinge, get some book binding tape. It's a genius idea. So I'm just going to just space the top and the sides. And on this one, the bottom and the sides is what we want to go even. If the top isn't quite even, doesn't matter. But I do want to get glue to the edge, because otherwise the tape is going to try and lift it. There we go. So make sure that is really well adhered. And now I'm going to take my Arca tape. This is self-adhesive. Let's get this up. So I'm trying to do it in camera shot. Normally I would get it upright, put it in place, and then start, but you can't actually see. So what I'm doing is placing my bookbinding tape half on the top and half on the bottom. And then keeping it nice and straight, just sticking it down. And as I said, it is longer than I need. So let me get my more accurate snips in. So I've covered that job. Oh, it didn't go even with me, did it? This is because I was trying to do it on camera in shot. No, I'm gonna have to leave it. What I'll do, I'll cut one of these strips and I'll hide it at the end. So I'll have something left over always the way around. But then that is your book, your recipe box, already constructed and decorated. And now it's just a case of taking whichever other elements you want and add it. Now, I'm not going to add a closure to mine. It's an MDF. Oh, we haven't done the top. It's an MDF box, which means it's weighted, so it shuts itself. So 7.5 plus that little bit, 7.5 and a little extra bit. So accurate, aren't they? And then 3 inches at the top. Let's check. So you can see we've got all of the covering from 2 sheets of my 12 by 12, and I still got plenty left over to do something on the inside. Just some glue and stick it on. So now we have our recipe box. As I said, we painted the inside, so it's all black inside, but if you wanted, you could have used some more of the papers inside and decorated in the same way. But the only thing you've got to remember is when you're covering the inside, you want to be measuring without these notches on the sides. You want to be measuring inside the box, if that makes sense, rather than the whole pieces. So that's the outside constructed. Now let's get going on the inside. Because for this Cool Cats box, and it is a recipe box, you can get some dividers. So if you've got some dividers on yours, again, these are MDF pieces with me here. I'm just taking my pebble marker again, and I'm just going all the way around the outside. So, and I can run this pen then on the edges as well. And on this edge. And on the back too. So again, I'm going to be covering the inside, so I don't need to come in too much. Go. So that's the last one done. In fact, let's stick to just the last one. So my dividers are 7 1/4, which means I'm going to go down 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut them at 7. I'm ignoring that round bit, and it's one, two, yeah, 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut them at 7 inches by, just say 5 1/2, so 5 1/4. That is what I'm going to cut my decorative paper. So look, I've got some of that left over from another project. That's going to look quite nice somewhere. I think that's going to have to be used somewhere. Right, got distracted then. That's the problem with graphic 45s, and then we get distracted. So we're going to cut these now at 7. Let's just cut off this bit just so it fits inside my trimmer. So 7 inches across by 5 1/4. So it's 5 1/4 and 5 1/4. I'm going to ink the edges. Now, depending how much paper you've got left, you may want to just decorate the front. So you get 2 pieces from your 12 by 12. So I would put 1 on the front, and for the back, I'm going to cut a 7. Let me write it again: 7 by 5 1/4, 7 by 5 1/4, because I will be covering this in a second. So let's clear this in place. So I'm ignoring that piece there, and I'm just decorating as if I've just got the rectangle. So then, as I said, just take the same piece but in black cardstock. This just saves your papers because you're barely going to see it on the back. But I'm going to have a go at making one of these. But instead of putting decorative paper on one side, I'm thinking of putting magnetic sheets and having it as a die storage. There we go. So that's the back. And then I'm just going to take some circle dies. So these again are from Cool Cats Crafts, and they've got a nice little pierced edge. So all I've done is taken my circles and worked out which ones would fit on there. And then just glue it in place. And on the front, so I've added 2 different sizes so I can mat and layer. So the biggest one is now black. And with the back of this is a plain green. So what I've done is just cut a plain green circle to go in the middle. So with it being plain, I can actually write then, take a pen or pencil and write what is actually on this divider. And I will just carry on repeating. Oh, I've got one there which I haven't coloured, so I'll have to go through that. And again, just go over the edge. So I'll just be covering what I would see with a black pen. It's just really quick. Going around. The very strange thing is, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen at the start of this video how this project ends, which I don't at the moment. And there we go. That's my home decor piece for Graphic 45 using Life's A Bowl of Cherries. And I said, I will be now going back and I'm going to be decorating this, but at the start of this video, you've probably seen it already. So thank you for watching and joining me on my Graphic 45 brand ambassador journey. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and it's given you an idea of how you can take just an MDF plain box with some awkward shapes, but how you can then decorate it and use it as a hinge, taped hinge. What else have we learned today? Or how to decorate using the patterns and solids, but a nice fun little project. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.